To order. Roll call.
Chairperson Surtee,
Here.
Vice Chairman Wilson,
Here.
Board Member Barker. Here. Board Member Evans. Here. Board Member Rizzi. Board Member Schroeder.
Here.
Board Member Struble.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Discussion and consideration of resolution number 2020-001. Will this be? Mike's up. Yeah.
Good evening, Chairperson Surtee and members of the board. We have a public utility easement located at 3710 South Goldfield Road. That is no longer necessary for the public use. This is similar. This is in one of our RV parks, north of Baseline, south of US 60. We have no facilities in this RV park currently, and they're just trying to abandon some of the easements that was recorded with the final plat. So we have no use for this public utility easement at this point in time or into the future.
Does our extinguishment of this also extinguish the rights for other utilities to be in this easement?
No, ma'am.
So we are simply saying that we don't need it, but it's still a utility easement, right?
That is correct. They have to go
Okay.
to each utility
Okay.
individually to get their abandonment.
Okay, and do they understand that?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So it's typically, on this occasion, this is just a public utility easement, but usually it would start with like a federally patent easement where the roadway would be abandoned first by the city.
Right.
Then they would go to each utility after
Right.
that and get them abandoned along as part of the process.
Okay, thank you.
Any more discussion? Okay, if not, now, Joel, this is not, we don't usually discuss things in this. This is not like a public hearing in a regular meeting or not?
This one is not a public hearing.
So we just go right to a motion if there is one.
Right.
Your Honor,
Yes.
I move that resolution number 2019-007, a resolution of the Board of Directors of the Water Utilities Community Facilities District, City of Apache Junction, Arizona, declaring portions of the public utility easement located at 3710 South Goldfield Road, Lot 542, Apache Junction, Arizona, no longer necessary for public use and are hereby extinguished, be approved.
Second.
Roll call.
Board Member Barker.
Yes.
Mr. Struble.
Yes.
Ms. Evans. Yes. Ms. Rizzi. Mr. Schroeder.
Yes.
Vice Chairman Wilson.
Yes.
Chairman Surtee.
Yes.
Unanimous, Your Honor.
Discussion on the proposed budget for 20 and 21.
So I'm just going to give you a quick overview of what our meeting is going to entail tonight. So we're going to go over our 2021 budget, proposed rates and fees charges, our class and compensation plan for next year, and then also a budget schedule review at the end of the meeting here. So to get started, the district manager and staff has recommended a budget of $6.1 million. As you can see, as resources here, we'd have 5.1 in revenues that come in each year. Then we'd use some of our reserves of about $1 million for total resources of 6.1 or $6.2 million roughly. And expenditures on the administration side, we'd have 2.1 million, and then on the system operations side of about 4 million to equal that budget about 6.1 to 6.2 million. We'll get further in detail as we go through some of these things, so this kind of just gives you the overall view of what we're looking at currently. Some of the big projects that we're looking at doing here is design and build a raw water impoundment at the Superstition Area Water Plant. As you guys are aware of in the past, we've had this rock snot and different things that come into the canal that we have to treat. So a raw water impoundment would allow us to settle some of those solids out before it actually hit the treatment plant so that we could treat additional water at the plant without additional chemical treatment that we'd have to do. So this would be a 2-year project. Roughly the first year would be about $800,000, and then following year would probably be close to the same, but we do it over 2 fiscal years. The next one project we have is replacing coating on a hydro tank at Booster Station 2. This past year we did Booster Station 1 hydro tank and also a 1 million gallon tank. This would be our last steel vessel that we'd need to coat. and we should be good for another 5 to 10 years before we recode any other steel vessels in the system. So if you guys are wondering what a hydro tank is, it's roughly about a 5,000 gallon tank. What happens is about half full of water, half full of air. So as customers use water, it keeps that pressure up and the air decompresses and compresses out, so it keeps that pressure. So it's just not a solid water inside there, so it's not just pressing up against the main. So it gives you a cushion to allow that to happen without your pumps coming on. So that's what a hydro tank is. So here's our revenues for the last couple of years here as part of our project. I know it's tough to see. We kind of put this in at the last minute for you guys to notice. Our actual numbers from 2018 to 2019 of revenues here was roughly about 4.4 million. We had some additional designated revenues, so in total it's about 4.7 million that we took in 18-19 on actuals. In 19-20, we budgeted that we could take in about 4.985. Currently, through 3/4 of the year, we're at 3.6. If you kind of extrapolate that out a little bit, we're looking at about 4.85. So we're roughly about $130,000 off our projection that we thought we'd take in for this year, if nothing changes. So typically our demands have gone up as the summer comes in here, so usually that revenue comes up a little bit, so we should be close to hitting our mark on what we proposed in the budget. So again, so what we're proposing for 2021, a slight increase in some of our revenues, and it looks like we'd be at about 5.1 million in revenues at the end of that year. So slight increase, and you'll see some of those as part of the rate structure that we're going to be looking at as we propose it to you guys here. Some of the expenditures in the past, in 2018, our actuals was 3.8 million that we actually spent. 2019-20, we budgeted 3 million, projected was 4.1, and again this year, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So those were fund balances I was telling you there. So if you go up 4 lines, the total expenditures was 3.5 million in 2018. Then for 19-20, we budgeted 5.4, and we're at 4.7 currently. So we're getting close to our budgeted number. Our proposed budget for next year is 6.1. Again, that was part of what we announced earlier, using some of our revenues. But as you can see, each year we put a $500,000 contingency in our budget. So just in case an emergency shows up, that's not something that we're automatically going to spend, but if we have a well failure, a booster pump tank, or booster failure, or some kind of failure in the system, we have that budgeted within our budget. Okay. So, any questions on this so far? So again, some of the expenditure increases was typically on our capital improvement parts of it. We'd usually spend about $350,000 to $400,000 in a year. This year we're asking for $800,000. We're also, as part of the city's doing the district is doing a financial package upgrade to Munis. Utility billing is still going to be on our old AS400 software. So starting this next fiscal year, we're going to be looking at a compatible utility billing system to Munis so that they will talk to each other, so we're not doing things on an Excel spreadsheet, handing them off to accounting, making it a little bit more streamlined in the process. So we'll be looking at that, working with other utilities, working with other cities across the state on what they've used and what's worked well with Munis. So we'll be doing some of our due diligence on that in the upcoming future here over the next year. And then we're anticipating the software would cost around $50,000. One of the other major increases, we've talked about this a little bit in the past, is Central Arizona Project, which is our CAP water, raising the rates in the next couple of years. So the capital rate going up $10 per acre foot, and the O&M, which delivers us the water, going up, I think it's about $20, but we'll get into those slides here shortly. So pretty big increase there on some of those. Those are some, at least the last one is something that we can't adjust. It's something that's just happening with CAP due to the fact that on the capital side, the Navajo Generating Station, which provided some of the capital input to fund some of that, has gone away now. They're abandoning that, so they no longer have a revenue to pay for some of those capital services. And then also on the O&M side is people are taking less water so we can keep behind the dam so that we have it for the future. So less water coming down the canal raises the rates up a little bit for everybody as they deliver it to us.
Is that an annualized amount of 125,000? That's what the fiscal year next year's amount is?
That is what's the additional amount that's raised. I believe it's roughly about 400,000 that we pay to Central
Okay.
Arizona Project.
Wow, okay. That's a big change.
Heavy.
25%.
Yes. So kind of here's the numbers I was just talking about. This year, on the capital side, which is the green line, it went from $41 to $56, so a $15 increase per acre foot. Next year, it'll go from 56 to 66, which is another $10 increase per acre foot. So what this means is our capital that we have, so we have 2919 acre feet per year that we purchase, and we have to purchase those every year to keep that amount of water for the district. So no matter what, they keep raising these rates. Again, this was part of the Navajo Generation Station that was helping us subsidize some of these rates. Now we have to pay for them ourselves through CIP. So that's on the capital side. And then, as you can see, on the O&M side, we went from 155, and then we're going to go to 187, so a $32 increase on that. But again, this is reserving some of the water behind the dam, so less water's coming down there, but they still have to support that infrastructure that delivers it to us. So kind of offsets, we're saving water, but we're actually paying for more for it. So, but it does have a big impact on the district and how we provide water to our customers. Any questions on that? I know there's a lot to it, a lot of moving parts to it, but just want to keep you guys informed. And as you can see, it's not going to slow down. Hopefully, the rate stabilizes in the next 5 years, but they still are climbing. And a lot of these are proposed rates as we go through that. If it does come in lower, they do refund us. If it comes in higher, they ask us for more money at the end of the year when they do their audits. So typically in the past, it's come in lower when they audit it, so that's good news, but hopefully it stays in that direction. So again, we're balancing those rates and capital charges versus CAP, and how do we manage this to make sure that our ratepayers aren't paying too much for water, or we're overcharging or undercharging, so that we are stable in the end. And so again, for the district, we're trying to propose a rate structure that our expenses and revenues equal out, and that we can maintain our operations through the water district. So this is what we've done in the past. We're proposing the same thing to you guys. I know we're going through some difficult times with the COVID and everything. We've looked back at some of our rates and different things that are going on. I talked to Evie a little bit, our billing supervisor, and right now currently we've had about probably less than 1% of our customers that aren't able to pay their bill currently. So we've put some of the other ones on payment plans, at least get some of their billing in. We have sent out roughly each week, we have about 5 customers that do not respond to anything via email, phone, trying to reach out to them, leaving them a door hanger. So what we're currently doing is we leave a door hanger on there, tell them they have 24 hours to contact us, otherwise we're going to shut off their water. Well, lo and behold, all of a sudden they reach out and talk to us. And that's really what we're trying to do. Tell us your situation, let us know what's going on, let us know if somebody's actually living in the house and it's not vacant and somebody's left and just left their water on. So again, it's been successful, them reaching back out to us to talk to us at that point in time because they understand their water's getting shut off. Currently, we haven't shut anybody's water off, but we at least tell them we're going to get them to talk to us so that we can understand their situation.
So if they don't get in touch with you, you'd shut the water off?
If they don't get in touch with us, we'd go back out there and shut their water off that point in time, yes. Because at that point, we think it's a vacant house. We don't want a toilet springing a leak, a faucet draining, or something going on, and we're just wasting water. So we want to make sure that there's actually a person in that house.
So
And
do you notify the PD when you do something like that so they can do a welfare check at some point in the very near future to ensure there isn't anyone in that house?
we have not at this point in time notified PD.
It seems to me that would be a good idea.
Okay.
Just in case.
Just to
you
check.
know,
Just to check.
Just to check it out, for sure.
Well, as I said, it's been very successful at getting their attention.
Sounds like it. I
and-
just hate to see.
But in the
You know.
in the future, if somebody does not reach back out to us, we probably should have a welfare check done at that house or something, just to verify something's not happened to somebody that's still in the house too.
What was landing?
That's coming out of the water department budget.
Yeah, that's their budget.
Somebody flushed. That's what happened.
Poor Matt back there.
Yeah.
I hope
poor
he's all
Matt
right.
must have come straight up.
Is he okay?
Hello.
Sorry about that.
That's one way to brighten up the meeting.
Yeah, boy, you sure wanted us wide awake and really paying attention, didn't you?
Yes.
How do, just curiosity, how do other cities get away with such low rates? Do they not have to deal with the CAP and so forth?
So some of the larger cities, they have a larger population, obviously. So it's based on, you know, how much water you can provide, lower cost, right? So if you produce millions and millions of gallons, you're going to get a lower cost.
Right, it just looks like some of these cities are close to our side. I'm just curious.
And then as you look, you got to compare, you know, this shows their base rate, but like Queen Creek has no surface water, so they're using all groundwater currently. They are also not a designated provider like the water district. So each new subdivision has to join the Central Arizona Groundwater Replenishment District. So they get taxed. So that doesn't show up on your water bill.
I gotcha.
So there's some
On your
hidden,
taxes.
yes.
Shows up on the tax, right?
So it shows up on their taxes. So they're actually, we pay for that, the water district does, as the customers pay for it as part of their water bill rather than paying as a tax, as a designated provider.
Got ya, okay.
So some of them are lower than others because of those reasons, and you gotta look at all the detail that follows this.
Right.
This kind of gives you a general idea what's happening out there.
It costs everybody the same, though, basically.
That is correct,
It's just paid for through different avenues,
yes. Yep,
kind of like interest rates. They're all really the same. It's just how many points you want to pay.
yes. Just different ways of finance and different ways of paying for them. So currently, our 5/8 inch meters, $24.71 is our base fee each month that a customer would pay. We're proposing to raise it to $25.95. The average base rate across these 12 cities, I believe it is here, is roughly $22.66. So we're slightly higher than other cities, but we're not way out of the range. As you can see, Mesa's a little higher, Maricopa's even higher, and Gila Bend's higher than us, but there are some lower than you, as you noticed before. So again, this is what we've done in the past. We've looked at raising that base rate, a 5% increase. The consumption rate, we've got saying no change. And again, to our consumption tiers, which is 1 to 4,000, 4 to 7,000, and 7,000 above, are different tiers as we go through that to promote conservation. So we're not requesting any raises to that at this point. For county islands, so if you live in a county island, we roughly have about 500 customers that this affects. We would do a 5% rate increase to their base rate and a 5% rate increase to their consumption rate, but no change to their tiers. And this is,
Teach them not to want to annex, huh?
and we'll show some comparisons as we get a little further, and so you understand what the difference is. So this is the existing rate here of that $24.71, and then if your commodity rate at 7,500 gallons per month would be roughly $34.70. And then with taxes, our average water bill of 7,500 gallons per month is $65. The proposed new rate would be at 7,500 gallons per month, would be $67. So it's about $1.37 in an increase in their rate currently. So an overall 2% if you lived within the city limits. So if you're a county customer, your current bill would be $69.57 for 7,500 gallons. The proposed rate would raise it to $73.04, which is a difference of about $3.50. Overall increase of about 5%. So just in comparison, as you can see here, so if you're a city customer, you pay $67.08. If you lived in a county, you would pay $73.04. So roughly about $5 cheaper, well, almost $6 if you lived in the city limits.
So if they did decide to annex in, we'd adjust the rates down, would they have to wait a whole year's cycle?
No, if they are annexed into the city, we have different codes. So then they would become a city customer, and then it'd be addressed at that point in time. So we have went back and looked at some of these things. We have a subdivision that's coming in Goldview Estates. We currently have water lines all the way through this county island, which is adjacent to it. We'd like to reach out to that county island and see, hey, here's some of the benefits to coming into the city. Here's some of the bad things to coming into the city. You know, what's the best? You know, you can look at what you like, what you don't like. But we're not forcing them. We're just going to go give them, the goods and the bads at that same time. Obviously, we'd request they be brought into the city when they get water service.
There is no bad.
Yeah.
That's, I guess, a personal opinion for most people. We wouldn't say it would be bad, but I think other people have difference of opinion on some of those. So
There's no real difference in much of anything if you live in the county island versus the city, except water.
And
if
the
And-
police,
solid waste, it was just approved by the city.
Yeah, and solid waste, so they pay $18 a quarter and we pay 10.
So-
Golly gee.
Yeah. So that's what we want to provide, that information to them, so they just can take a look at it to see and understand, again, what the benefits are.
Yeah. We've already saved them $14 just in those two.
Not right there.
So residential system connection fee. So this isn't for our existing customers. This is for new customers coming in that are in a development or developing a lot that's out there. So currently, our single-family residence is $4,500, about $4,580. We'd be going up to $4,650. And this is all based off the Consumer Price Index for Arizona for construction of housing, which has increased about 1.5% in the last year. So we're just basing these numbers off of what we receive from them. So that is what these are proposed to go up. And this is just for new development. This is not for our existing customers. Another one, we have a potable, non-potable water stand. As you can see, these are old style turn. We raised the rates last year for the base rate. We're proposing to do it again this year. I think it's 50% that we're raising it, so we're going from 25 to 38 for your monthly base fee. We've looked at replacing this out here, and without raising these base rates, we would not be able to afford it, and it wouldn't be financially responsible for us to replace it without raising some of these rates, so those customers actually pay for it. So I would say there's only about 2% of the customers that do not have access to water in our systems that have water main out front. So these, in particular, just serve county outside of the water district. So a lot of the customers we have are not even in the water district. They're in county islands outside the water district, or where the city does not have water service between Arizona Water Company or the Apache Junction Water District. Our classification and compensation recommendation for this year would be following the same steps as the city. We're recommending no step increase for our employees. Pretty difficult decision that we've asked them to stay here and work over the last 2.5 months, but be financially responsible and keep the rates as low as possible. We're recommending no step increases for all of our employees.
But you will review it in the fall, and if there's a change in the economy, you'll be able to perhaps give them some kind of increase, correct?
Your Honor, if I could answer this one, I would like to share that, yes, we are going to have some opportunity later tonight to talk about some of that. There may be opportunity in,
With the care fund.
yes.
Ah, okay, that answers my question. Thank you.
Okay. The one thing that we did do, there was a 7% increase on the average health care insurance premiums for the city and the district. The district's going to cover those cost increases for their health care and dental. So we are giving a little something, but obviously they're not going to get a step increase at this point in time. So that's not 7% of their salary. That's only 7% of what those costs are for health care.
Right.
The upcoming budget For the next couple meetings here, we have a tentative budget meeting scheduled for June 16th at 6 PM, and then a final budget on July 7th at 6 PM here in the Apache Junction City Council chambers. So we'll be moving forward with those. Let us know if you guys have any questions or comments on some of our budgets or some of our rates that we're looking at, and see if we need to adjust anything for you guys as we go through the process.
Any more questions? Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
District Manager's report.
No report, Your Honor.
District Director.
No report.
Okay, I think we just heard it.
That was the
District-
report, yeah.
District Treasurer's report. And then we will be adjourned. Everybody out.
Hey, Jennifer.
Yes.
How do we cut the microphones to the outside?